Welcome, everyone. So, here comes a new podcast with our member, Karen Unger. And I'm going to let her introduce herself. And you guys have seen our podcast. It's all about getting to know our members and see, do you align? Would you like to come and be a guest speaker based on what they share? So, enjoy our amazing Karen. So, Karen, tell us who you are.
Thank you so much. That's a great way to start off. Um, I was born in Denver. My dad was in the space program, and so we traveled around a lot. We moved a lot. When I went to college, it was the 18th school I had gone to in my life. So, in like 6 different states, I think it was. So, it was an amazing childhood. And it really gave me kind of a background in how to adjust to things easily, obviously. When you move that much, that
Right.
becomes a way of life. Um, and it also impacted my feelings about all kinds of different things. The space program, obviously, government, different kinds of school systems and how things are put together. It was just an interesting impact on my life. And as I've grown up, my grandfather had his own business, so that also influenced me. And I started my own business and had a technology company for about 23 years before it was sold. And that was an amazing experience because I had offices in 4 different states. I had, at one point in time, we had almost 200 employees. Then, because we were a technology company, we figured out how to do things faster, better with fewer people.
Nice.
And that made a big difference to us and to our clients. And it made a big difference to our employees too, because we made sure that we took care of them as we eliminated some positions. We helped people move on to something else, like working at one of our clients or finding a different kind of a position someplace. So we were careful about that. That sort of thing has always been a part of how I have operated in all my positions. And so that kind of flows through to the kind of philosophy that Rotary has, which is to help other people and to make things better in different situations, if at all possible.
Mm.
So I was talking to a friend of mine, Leslie Bolt, one day, and just she and I were just talking. We were at an event, as a matter of fact, and she says, I think you should come to Rotary. Um, you need to come and find out what this is all about. And so I did. And it was so impressive. I decided to visit a couple other different Rotary clubs and I enjoyed them. One of the other ones I attended, I knew a lot of people there, but when it came down to a decision about which club I wanted to join, I really was attracted to the Rotary Club of Fort Lauderdale South. It is a little bit smaller. It's not a huge club, but it's also a friendly club. And people, one of the other clubs I went to, everybody had their same seat that they always sat in, and you got in trouble if you sat in somebody's seat. This one was everybody just came up and said, "How are you today? Who are you? Welcome to our Rotary Club," and asked me questions about me, told me a little bit about them. It was just so friendly. And as I got to know the club better and better, I realized it wasn't just friendly, it was involved. Our club always finds something, several somethings every year to accomplish and to do and to give to our community one way or another. And so that means a lot to me.
Yeah. So I love how you introduce yourself with the fact that it's traveling so much because I love to travel. So because
Yes.
I'm in Arizona, you're in Fort Lauderdale. Thank you, technology. You love technology, you have a successful business. And then I caught myself when you said, because of technology, you did things faster. So you had to eliminate some positions. And I'm like, oh, nice. But I'm like, wait, that's the flip side of everything, right? You were able to streamline things and eliminate positions, but I love how you also added, you created connections with other businesses that are clients so that people were not left in a cold of like, oh, I got no job now. You actually took care of them, which is part of Rotary, like the win-win mentality. How can we streamline and be more efficient for our business and also empower the current employees, but then the ones who are leaving, sometimes there's a season for an employee to be somewhere and they can evolve. So I love how you describe that. And I wanted to highlight that that's the core of who you are for your business, but then also why you had a level of attraction, it sounds like, with Rotary.
It was, I wish I could say that was 100% what we managed to accomplish. It obviously would not be for any organization, but as it's amazing to me that I still hear from, I've been away from that business for almost 10 years now. Oh, that sounds that's weird. And it is amazing that I still hear from people that say, this is where I am now. There's one gentleman that writes to me at least once or twice a year that is in Indiana, and he's actually been in the same position for like the last 8 years.
Mm.
And he loves what he did, but he got a basis from where he started with us. And I feel very proud about that kind of thing where you can help somebody learn something and then take it on and go on with their life and learn more, do more, that sort of thing. And to me, that's a lot of what Rotary does too. We try to start with something and make it better and bigger.
Exactly. And I also love how you said you came to connect with Rotary and the club, which is with Leslie, who is having a fabulous time being in love and married. So Rotary, it's not like a networking group where it's like, hey, let me just join this
Yeah.
networking group, right? This is through service, and then we get invited, and then you become a member as you go through the process. So I love that that's also how we come together. It's like we have, oh, there's something about you that I think, and it's not about business per se, it's your service spirit that
Mm-hmm.
attracts the club. And then you attended different clubs to see which one you were going to go ahead and actually become a member, being involved at a smaller size. And that was also the attraction for me. It's that smaller size, the one that there's a level of intimacy, of connection that small and mighty, I think they say, like, can do so much also. So I love
Yes.
all that you shared. And I want to highlight that you also in the hardest time for us, at least since I've been a member, was during COVID, and you were our president. And you
And
survive and
one
thrive.
of the things that I think is wonderful about that year is this entire organization. And I've heard other Rotary clubs that had challenges during that time and going online and using Zoom or whatever technology they were using. This club, everybody just goes, okay, here, let's do this. Let's be together. And it was like, okay, the next week we had this different kind of a meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And this club is very, they're able to move and change and do things differently on based on what's going on.
Right.
So
And I think we had the perfect president at that time because he's someone who loves technology. So the
Yes,
core
I
of who you
do.
are at that time was also embracing us to do the Zoom and make it easy, even though it wasn't comfortable, maybe for so many to, but I'm not hugging you, I'm not next to you, which was preventing us. But you really helped us by being consistent, by embracing it, and by bridging. Because even though there was a hurdle of we're not meeting in person at the Tower Club for breakfast, you still created a space where we could bridge. And I think a lot had to do with who you are, but also that connection of you with technology where you're not intimidated by it. So definitely
Oh,
kudos for that and keeping us. We're still meeting on Zoom.
well, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. And the commute to our club meetings is a little bit less than when we on a normal meeting is less than when we meet in person, but now we can do both, and everybody likes to do both because, as you mentioned, we can get our hugs. We can see people and be close to people when we're meeting in person, but the Zoom meetings are convenient and yet still a Rotary meeting. We still do our business together and still accomplish things as a club. So I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. So putting COVID and Zoom and technology aside, in Rotary, your experience, what would you say has been your, if somebody would say, what level of service or where did you volunteer that was like, oh my gosh, a highlight for me of all the things that we've done? Is there one in particular that will first come to mind?
Oh, I'm trying to think through all the different things. One of the things that always pops to my mind
Mhm.
is my first time that I went with one of our other members, Lee, to deliver books to fourth graders. And we give these books to them every year to different fourth graders, obviously, in different schools. And it's such an amazing experience to see these kids. We pass out the books and we talk to them about what was in the books, and Lee had a whole bunch of things that she did with them, that here, look this up and find out, where's the information about Florida, that sort of thing. And then at the end, they were surprised that they got to take the book home.
Mm.
And to me, I love to read. And the idea of being surprised, but also being so thankful that they got to have this book given to them was just, that always reminds me of, we do so much and we do different projects, but that one always comes to the forefront for me, those kids.
Yeah, and it touches our hearts, and it's an opportunity to start planting seeds of what Rotary does. They
Mm-hmm.
will remember that because the dictionary does have, our book dictionary has Rotary at the front of it, because we take
Yes,
time as members to go ahead and put the label so they remember, so they can look. And even if it may go in the back of their mind, as one is like, wait, I know that word, because we are different levels. We have us as club members, we have Samaritan Club, which is more of a social club, but then we also have the younger crowds, the kids, and then
mm-hmm.
the young adults. So it's very empowering to be able to provide that, and how it's a
It
reciprocal
is.
type of touch also.
Empowering is such a good word for Rotary, too. I love that. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course. So how long have you been a member of Rotary? I meant to ask that at the beginning.
I think about 8 years.
8 years.
I don't know.
Mhm.
You get involved and you get encompassed,
Mhm.
and I'll have to look that up
All
because
right.
it's,
More than
um,
my miss 3 years. So yeah.
and it's, there's so many times I've been members of chambers, I've been members of different business organizations, a couple different philanthropic
Mhm.
organizations in the different places I've lived and had businesses in. And Rotary is, to me, is a little different. It's more than just philanthropy. It's not a business club, but we talk about everybody's businesses and, we exchange information. Um, it's not a social club, or not only a social club, we're pretty social,
Right.
but it's, it is all of those, plus it reaches out worldwide. I mean, I know if I hear about something in a country far away, I can call Rotary and say, hey, they've probably already found out about it. They've probably already sent whatever was needed, and we can just join in. It's it's just such a really powerful organization worldwide. And if you visit someplace and you have a spare bit of time, and it's just a little bit of time, it's only an hour, so it takes up a couple hours, you can go visit wherever you are. So if I go to Denver, if I go to New York, I can find a Rotary Club to visit and meet some new friends.
Definitely expanding our sphere of influence, our friends. And when I was listening to you share about how in something happened in a different country, it it's almost creating that extension that it's no longer what's happening over there. It's like, yeah, it's happening there, and I may have a solution, or I may be able to do something, and it creates that connection, the
Yes,
bridge. It's been a word for me lately, bridging, versus when it's something that's a country where we ever heard the name. Um, it just feels so far that we kind of get disconnected. So I love how Rotary is definitely a bridge, and it's global, and we can still do
it
local.
is.
So
It
it's
is.
perfect.
And
Yeah.
and sometimes it's something we hear about ourselves and bring to Rotary. Sometimes it's something we read about in the Rotary magazine, and it touches us.
Mhm.
And sometimes somebody who knows somebody that can help. So it is a bridge to a lot of different people, a lot of different needs around the world, and global. That's another good. You have good words today.
When you keep on studying Rotary, you see really the core and the values, and then start emulating them. So that's great. So Karen, to conclude, what would you say if you meet someone is asking you about Rotary? What's your aspiration? What do you either see yourself as a member? This could make a difference. Like, what would be your last comment that you would leave someone with on about Rotary, or to become a Rotarian? Just what would be your last words for our
I think
audience?
it would be opportunity, that this is an opportunity for friendship, for being able to make a difference to people, locally and worldwide, to learn new things, to experience things. I mean, we have meetings and we have all kinds of events around our region and other regions. And so there's just opportunities for all kinds of things. And it's not, it's something that means something. So it's an opportunity that has a result to it. So the time you spend in Rotary will become time well spent.
Love it. Time you spent in Rotary, time well spent. And opportunity definitely is an amazing word, because, like you've described throughout our conversation and exchange, depending on who you are, you find something that will align. And it could be global, like me, global. It could be the dictionaries. It could be so many things, and you find a home based on the size of the club. So it's really a great place to open to opportunities and possibilities. So
I
yeah.
totally agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Karen. Oh, I do want you tell us before we actually close about your husband, because we also do have once a year an opportunity to be of support for your husband. Would you like to share with us who he is,
Yes.
what he does, and what we do as a club member?
Yes. My husband is Ron Perkins. He is the president and the senior chaplain for public safety chaplaincy. And they are a group of chaplains who work, and they're across many different religions, that they work with police and fire departments, in the mostly in the Broward County area of Florida, although they get called to, he's got something going on this weekend up in Palm Beach. He's got another something going on in Miami in several weeks. He does a lot of weddings, he does funerals, but he also is there when there's a problem, or when, just the other night there was a really bad situation that caused most of the department to come out for it, and he was out for that too. And he doesn't fight fires, he doesn't, arrest people at all. He's not that kind of person. He's there primarily for the officers, and the firefighters. He's there to give them their support, but then that, like in Rotary, it extends beyond just the individual person to their families and to the other individuals that work in those departments. And so, it's he was in healthcare for many, many years, and he owned a healthcare company. He built it up, sold it to a large New York Stock Exchange company. He invested in a company, the one I had. And then this became his true calling. And the people that knew him when he was only a corporate individual and a vice president of a healthcare company or a president of a healthcare company, they're surprised when they see and hear what he does. And it makes a big difference to the people he works with. So
Very nice. And then as a club, our club also
yes.
volunteers. You want to tell us about that day that we volunteer?
Yep. Trying to remember exactly what we do. What do we do? Trying to
uh,
remember.
yeah, prayer breakfast. The prayer
That's
breakfast.
right. The
Yes.
prayer breakfast. Hope you can edit this. Yes, the prayer breakfast is once a year, and people come together, primarily to invest in the program itself, and to meet some of the people who have been recipients of the work that they do.
Mhm.
And so it's like second hand around here. We think about the prayer breakfast all year round. So
Right.
um
And
yeah,
the reason
it's
I wanted to point that out is because, you're a member, your husband is not officially a member, but he comes from time to time in our meetings. There are times when there's a need for maybe a spouse or family member. This is where we get involved. So I
yes,
thought that was important for us to share that this is not a closed club. It's like expands based on the needs. And that's the point that
yes,
you shared earlier, where we get involved and we are there where it's needed. So wanted to point that out. Sometimes a person that we meet on the street that they need help, or it could be a family member. So
yes,
the opportunity.
definitely.
So we'll conclude,
Opportunities,
if you're
yes.
okay with that, that it is all based on opportunity when it comes to Rotary. And I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and share your story, how you started with Rotary, and who you are, and the aspiration that you are to all of us when you are a member. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been a very delightful conversation. I appreciate you doing this, not only with me, but with all the members of our club. We're a small club, but we're a mighty club, as you said, but it's not just an easy thing to do, to meet with every single one of us. So thank you for what you're doing.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.